Sonny, your turn.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Just want to make sure I get our slides up. How's everyone doing after lunch? Yeah, it's always interesting, when you get asked to speak because it's a function of time. I'd like to tell you a few stories about Misfit, the company that I've been working at. Just as a brief background, I came from the software world. That was my first company. We sold it to a search engine during the internet days. That was after dropping out of MIT, and then I went back to try to finish school like a good Asian kid, and started my second company, which was a glucose monitoring company. We did, and one of the last products we did there was a glucose meter that worked with the iPhone. And that was a lot of fun. It was the world's first hardware medical device that works with the iPhone, first hardware medical device in the Apple Store. It was a lot of fun building that, and the main insight we got from that product was that if we can have technology with a person, it can really solve a lot of problems. One of the top problems that people have when they have diabetes is they don't test their glucose as frequently as they should. And one of the top reasons, not the top reason, is people just forget their glucose meter. They just don't have their glucose meter with them. And so what the product was called the IBG Star, and it's a glucose meter that just plugs into the iPhone. The problem that solved was that they just had their phone with them all the time, and as a result, because it's physically connected to the phone, they never forgot their glucose meter. People often forgot their glucose meter at home. Actually, some people just don't want to bring it with them. But they never forgot their iPhones. You think about, we had this test that we had internally called the turnaround test. And that was, if you are halfway to work, whether you're driving or you're walking, say it's 20 minutes, and you forgot something at home, what is that thing that you would turn around for to take? And would you turn around if you forgot your iPhone? Absolutely. How about your keys, your wallet, that kind of thing, right? And so, and the glucose meter apparently did not make that list. People almost everyone we asked would never turn around for their glucose meter. And so that was the basis for the inspiration for Misfit, the wearables company that we're doing now. Because as we thought about the world of technologies, the world of products that had similar characteristics that you could have with you all the time, we felt it was in this category of wearable technology, because now you could have it with you all the time, not because you remembered to have it with you, but because it was on you to begin with and you never left it. You were wearing it. And so about 3 years ago, I had a chance to meet John Sculley, and we just became friends. He was just this really nice guy. First time I met him, why else would you meet John Sculley when, at least in my opinion, it was to get Steve Jobs stories, right? And so we had a great time. And after all the Steve Jobs stories ran out, I thought, well, you want to start a company? And surprisingly, he said yes. And so we did that. And I did that with my former high school friend and college roommate Sridhar. Sridhar's been a co-founder with me for all three companies, and we've just had a lot of fun together. So it's an unlikely trio, but that's what we did. And we had I was about to say we had a similar path to Pebble in the sense that we had this crowdfunding story, but the story was a little bit different. We seed funded the company ourselves, so we decided to start the company because we just decided who we wanted to work with. And then we decided what it was we were going to work on. So we've been working on this other wearable technology product, which we haven't spoken too much about publicly. But along the way, we saw how this fitness tracking space was just blowing up and just increasing with no end in sight, it seems like. Millions of these devices being sold, and we thought, okay, maybe we should do something there, just to get some product out. Just as Francois was saying, to get something basic out, just do it. And so we did. So we actually came up with a design for Shine, and it was kind of radical. It's very different. We decided not to have any buttons. We decided not to have an LCD screen, and we decided not to ask people to charge it. Just basically the ultimate in simplicity. And it was so different that we were actually concerned of whether people would actually like this product or not. It was so different. So we went and did a crowdfunding campaign. We did it on Indiegogo. We looked at doing it on ourselves, like Locatron. We also looked at Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And we ultimately decided to do Indiegogo for a number of reasons. In my opinion, it's just a better platform. You get to work with people instead of a computer. But what we did was we actually studied the other crowdfunded, successful campaigns. We studied the Pebble campaign in detail, as well as a number of other campaigns. And we learned a lot from that. And so if you are considering crowdfunding, one of the first lessons, study the other campaigns, see how they did it. Study every aspect of their page, how they ran it, how they engaged with users, the messaging, the media that they used, and whatnot. And so the campaign went well. It went really well. Actually, our video went viral, 700,000 views within the first several weeks. And the Indiegogo, at the time, we were the fastest growing Indiegogo campaign in history. We had a goal, actually we had an internal goal of $300,000, but we didn't want to, we were kind of scared that we would embarrass ourselves, so our goal was $100,000. And we hit that goal within 9.5 hours. So we launched at 6 in the morning, and by 3:30 we were finished. We hit our goals with no marketing or anything like that. And so we said, okay, I think people are interested in this product, and let's move on. So we went to CES, entered some competitions. CES is the big consumer electronics show in Las Vegas every year, and we were the #2 device there that year. And then one thing led to another. We were in the Apple Store, and then we launched at a few other retailers in the US. And within 3 months of launch, we were launched in 32 countries. And we did another round of financing just recently. And most recently, we were featured at the Olympics in Sochi by our partner, Coca-Cola. And so they were giving out red shines. They're the only company that we've done a special color for. So it's been an incredible ride. And some of the stories I wanted to, we're based in San Francisco, so that's our story around Misfit and Shine, and we're giving out some of those Shine devices here. And as we take a step back, when we were looking at wearables as a category, we thought, this is pretty interesting, Mankind has come a long ways, but perhaps something went horribly wrong, or maybe they went right, who knows, depends on how you view history. And the question is, is wearables going to be the next big thing, the next big era in computation? And having come from there was the PC revolution, the internet, smartphones, smartwatches, maybe Google Glass and head-worn wearable platforms will be next. Who knows? We're not going to pontificate or try to prophesy anything, but we wouldn't call ourselves Misfit wearables if we were not excited about that. But then we thought, why hasn't wearables taken off? Why is it not the case that hundreds of millions of people are using Google Glass or smartwatches or even fitness trackers for that matter? Why is that? There are hundreds of millions of people using tablets. Those were launched, and then within just a couple years, hundreds of millions of people. And as we reflected on it, we thought, I think wearables is just not really that wearable. When you think about the products out there, largely plastic, largely single-use devices, types of things that you'd wear when you are doing one thing, you're exercising, and then you take it off. And so, our view at Misfit is that, that's a very 1.0 kind of thing, and we're so glad that these products have come about. We're huge fans of Pebble. We're huge fans of this whole smartwatch world. And we think it's still very in this infancy stage. So it's an exciting time to be in. It's like literally the first 10 minutes of a 90-minute football match. And so we we're excited to be there. I do think, though, and I want to underscore some of the things that Francois was saying, I think we're moving towards a world where a more 2.0 type of wearables world, where things are going to be more wearable. They're going to be more desirable. You know, where they're going to be more lifestyle products as opposed to just techno-geek products, things that are more mainstream. And that's what's exciting, because now I do believe in the next maybe 3 to 5 years, we will be in the hundreds of millions of users of these products. Our view, I mean, I think the most exciting thing about wearables is what hasn't been done yet. So if you think about your smartphone, okay, or if you just think of all of the things that we take for granted. I mean, back in the 1980s, being able to make a phone call from your car or at the airport, just whenever you felt like it, was just not conceivable. Like, wow, you know. And then in the 90s, being able to send a message to someone, or maybe early 90s, let's say that, wherever you were, in your car, on the plane, well, maybe not on the plane, but you know, just wherever you are, was also inconceivable. And now it's inconceivable to live without those things. Making phone calls, sending email, checking Yelp, using Google Maps, you know, killer use cases. And what I believe is that companies like Pebble and folks who are ushering in this era of wearable computing, really not just wearable hardware, but stuff that will actually do things for you, are going to enable us to uncover, I think, maybe 2 or 3 unbelievable use cases that, you know, if we were to transport ourselves into 2020 and we look back and say, remember that meeting in Colombia, 2014, and we were talking about use cases that we couldn't imagine? Oh my gosh, we're now using X. You know, back in 2014, we couldn't even conceive of what X is. And I don't even know what those use cases are, those 2 or 3 things. What is the phone call equivalent and the text messaging or emailing, mobile emailing equivalent? I don't know what those are, but it's pretty exciting that I think there will probably be a couple of those use cases that are potentially only possible in a wearable scenario. Maybe it's predicting heart attacks, maybe it's wearable identifications and payments, maybe it's wearable controls, being able to control our environments. I actually don't know if activity tracking, what we do currently with Shine, is one of those use cases. I don't know if I would turn around if I forgot my activity tracker at home. It's still a useful product, you know. But just a quick note on product design and wearable developing wearable products. You know, we made Shine because we want it to be incredibly wearable. And so when we think about wearability, one thing that we've always said was, really to make things wearable, so you either need to be gorgeous or invisible. You really can't be much in between. And so Shine, designed to be gorgeous. You know, we made it so that it would be something, our benchmark, and I don't know if we've hit it with Shine yet, but our benchmark was we wanted to make something so appealing visually, physically, that you might actually wear it even if it wasn't working. Okay? I mean, there are plenty of people out there who wear watches that they don't wind or they don't have any batteries in because it's just a gorgeous watch. You know, wearing time, telling the time in many ways is an alibi for wearing a watch these days. So we've had a lot of fun making Shine. You know, we designed it from the outside in. We decided, that's it, no plastic. We're going to make it out of a material that people can relate to, that people enjoy wearing, that women would enjoy wearing. And it's a very simple product. You just double tap it, and a halo of lights turns on, and it tells you your progress towards your daily activity goals. When you hit all of your dots, you're done for the day. We actually had a screen, and we actually removed it because we felt it was distracting. A number of people told us that I don't know what to do when my pedometer tells me that I walked 8,000 steps. What does that mean? But here, you can actually program your goals in the app, and then that programs the Shine, and then the dots are a relative measure of how close you are to your daily goal. We had 12 dots, so we said, hey, you know, we can also tell time. So there's like this little futuristic watch function that we also have. We've seen that a number of people have enjoyed using that as well. But one of the keys to Shine was to make something that was position agnostic to the most part, something that you could wear anywhere. So we actually have a number of different accessories that enable you to wear either at your wrists. I've got one clipped onto my chest, my jacket here. There's also a necklace that was very popular. Here, I guess you could clip it on a bra. I mean, these people don't need activity trackers, but they make Shine look good. So you can wear it in a number of locations. You've got a leather band. We've got a necklace that Kim's wearing there. You can wear it. It's one of the only activity trackers that we know of that's waterproof to 50 meters. So, taking a learning from Pebble, I mean, that absolutely. Waterproofness, durability is such an incredible thing. Whereas the Pebble guys knew that years ago, and Shine is 6 months old. The company's 2 years old, so we were just getting started. A lot of people like wearing it on their shoes, and so we had a lot of fun doing this. We designed it with wearability in mind, and one of the other principles that we had in mind was we wanted to be highly customizable, something that would fit your fashion or melt invisibly into your fashion, just not be unfashionable. And so enabling people to wear it in different locations and different contexts, that was very important. That actually worked out really well. That was something we learned in crowdfunding, that, oh my gosh, like people gave us all this feedback and said, oh, I wish I could just wear it as a necklace. So we made a necklace. The app, we've had a lot of fun with that as well. One of the things that Shine does do, we found was important in this wearable world, measuring sleep. We just don't sleep as much as a society as we used to, and that is bad for our health. So we're one of the only activity trackers that can automatically detect your sleep, tell you how much you slept or didn't sleep, light and deep sleep as well. And one of the most important things that we did, and I think one of the hallmarks of wearable technology moving forward, will be making it fun, making it social. And so we made it so you can add your Facebook friends and whatnot, and you can compete with each other. So available on Android and iOS. So our key thing from the beginning, as I was saying, is making it elegant. And I think when you talk about wearable technology, elegance is just a key part. Making it not bulky to wear, or if it is, or if it doesn't look great, then at least make it invisible somehow by making it something that you could wear under your clothes. So elegance was like our top thing. But next was actually power. And so I think the big elephant in the room for all of us wearable people, and Francois alluded to this, is power. Unlike the PC revolution, the internet, mobile, post-PC revolution, which in many ways was driven by the Moore's law-like curve, the Moore's law of computational power. But unlike computational power, battery technology has not improved over the last 20 years at the same rate. In fact, it has hardly improved at all. A 2032 battery, which is what powers our product. So unlike other products which have to charge every 3 to 5 days, whatever, change our batteries twice a year. That's it. And then you can just go on with it. That way you don't have to take it off. But battery technology, hasn't really improved. A 2032, 10 years ago, probably had 180 milliamp hours, I'm not sure, of energy. It has 225 to 240 milliamp hours now, and in 5 years, it probably will have not much more than that. And so the art of power management is really key for wearable product development. Waterproof locations, being really thin, being able to track swimming, cycling, making out of metal. These are the things that were important for us. Anyways, I'll just leave you with an image. We're a startup. That's it. This is us fulfilling. We actually work out of a house in Daly City. It's a little town outside of San Francisco. We work out of the house. We actually fulfill the products out of the house. People just can't believe it. Sometimes, every time people come to our offices, they say, I think we're lost. And we say, are you in front of a house? Yes. Well, you've arrived. And welcome to the House of Misfit. And that's what we've done. And I guess part of the reason for me to share this last slide with you is that there aren't really any rules in the sense of how you should do things. So, you raise venture money, so you should move into an office. You should have proper shipping partners. You should, no. I mean, you do what you need to do. Yeah, there's a practicality that is very important in getting things started. And once again, getting the minimal viable product out, absolutely one of the big lessons that we've learned as well at Misfit. Anyways, so that was it. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a note. And I think we have a few more shines to give out. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, both. I have a number of questions here, but I guess you may also want to discuss among each other the things we've been talking about during dinner and during lunch today. But just to start with something easy, we're seeing that as technology gets smaller and smaller and closer to the body, technology needs to approach fashion. Are you seeing that fashion is also approaching technology in the same way?
Okay, I'll start, I guess. I think that today we talk about wearable electronics, but actually what's going to happen really fast is that we're just going to talk about wearable. Electronics is going to become assumed. It's going to be everything. So it's not going to be us approaching fashion or fashion approaching us. It's going to be fashion becoming a technology industry. It's going to be all of these different industries which will have to start learning a little bit about electronics. So yes, like the short answer is yes, absolutely. As we learn about these industries are going to have to learn about us, because with 10 cents microcontroller or even 5 cents microcontroller, as that cost goes down, it's going to be everywhere.
I just had a quick question to follow up on that. Has anyone here heard of CES, the Consumer Electronics Show? Can you show a raise of hands here? Okay. Who here has heard of Magic? Okay, I didn't think so. So I had never heard of Magic, but Magic apparently is about the size of CES, but it's for the fashion industry. I was just there yesterday in Las Vegas, and it is gigantic. They take up South, North, and Central Hall, top and bottom floors, full of exhibits. Unbelievable, right? And it's a conference that none of us. I had never heard of it until I showed up. I didn't even know what it was. I just showed up. They asked me to come talk about fashion tech, so I did, and.
So they have keynotes and everything?
They have all that stuff, it's unbelievable. And the thing that I took away from it is fashion is indeed quite interested in the tech world. And I think the connections between those two are going to be interesting. And the analogy that I have is, if you look into the digital health world, okay, 3 years ago when you were at CES, if that is any indicator of trends, there were like 5, 10 companies at CES doing, heart rate monitors that can communicate to your phone and whatnot. And then 2 years ago, there were about like 15 companies in the health pavilion. And then last year, I think there must have been like 60. It was like a totally exponential curve. And I actually think the same thing's going to happen with fashion tech. I actually think in like 1 or 2 years, Magic is going to have like 30, 40 companies doing this kind of thing. So you're seeing jewelry tech, you're seeing soft goods tech, and I don't know who's approaching who, but they're approaching each other.
Another quite silly question, but during the last years we've seen people patenting gestures like the double click, like this, like this, like this. Are there people doing the same thing with wearables? Are we building up ways or common gestures to interact with wearable technology?
As technology gets built, patents get filed. I think, yes, there's going to be patent on some gestures. There's going to be patents on some ideas around wearable electronics. Whether or not that's good for the industry, I won't try to comment. But it's definitely happening, and it's going to happen more and more.
I remember in San Francisco, at some point, people would tell you to shut up like this.
Nice. Like they could have said this,
Actually, this was just a joke to bring me to the next question. So, where's Apple? When is the lion going to wake up? Do they consider it not important, or they're preparing something really good, or they want you to be part of their app store? What's the deal?
I don't know where Apple is. If you know where Apple is, I'd love to know where Apple is. we've all heard rumors, but we also heard rumors about the Apple TV, the iTV, actual TVs made by Apple. Apple and rumors have been kind of part of their underlying culture in Silicon Valley for a long time, and although we would be foolish to ignore those entirely, I don't think that we can build our business around those either.
Well, what would the world be like if we didn't have Apple rumors, right? So let's just enjoy them for what they are. I won't comment on what they're working on, but certainly, if they did work on something, they're going to totally get it right. It's going to be amazing.
The day I talked to you both on Skype to prepare the conference, I was looking at some few old articles saying, in the future, we will be wearing 7 devices, one to speak on the phone, another one to take pictures, another one on GPS, a reader. So it looks like we're going to be wearing a lot more things than we were planning to. And so what's your pick? What are the future generations of wearable technologies going to bring us?
So today, I'm going to use to start slightly as an aside. Today, if you step into your car, you interact with about 200 microcontrollers on an average car. That's how many microcontrollers you have. Actually, that was 2 years ago. I assume today it's even many more. And in my opinion, there's no reason why those numbers are not possible to reach in wearables and with in your home, on your person. So yes, I think. If things as silly as tracking, when you wore which clothes and when you washed it and what you want to do with it, I think that the cost is becoming nil for all of these technologies to be embedded in everyday items. So they're going to be everywhere.
I think if I had to wear 7 wearable devices as currently envisioned, I think I'd go kind of nuts. I don't think that's a very bright future. But I don't think that the 7 devices that we may end up wearing will look anything like the devices that we have now. Won't even look like Shine. You may not even see it. So if it's that kind of future, I don't see any issue with it. If I have to wear giant chest straps and compression shirts to measure my heart rate, that's a non-starter for 99% of the world, I think.
Okay, I have another question. This could probably bring us to a conversation that would last for hours, but I would like to know what you think are the main hurdles to building a hardware startup these days, how it's going to get even worse or better in the future. I guess talent is one of the best, one of the top, right?
So actually, I think talent is a problem if you're looking at growth, but the biggest hurdle was always putting together the first prototype. For a long time, anyways, it was putting together the first prototype, coming together with a first concept, a first proof of concept for your technology. And with the open source hardware movement, that's become so easy. There's a company called Tessel that now makes microcontrollers you can program with JavaScript. Like designers know JavaScript. Everybody knows JavaScript. So that part has become already a lot easier than it was 2 years, 5 years ago, and it's going to become much, much easier as time goes by. The other part is money. It takes money to manufacture products. If you need to order components ahead of time, and your retailers don't pay you until much after you've delivered, and so that requires complex financial instruments, and it requires a fair amount of money. And that will always be the biggest hurdle, I think. And as the hardware startup industry is growing, it's getting a little bit easier, mostly because there are a few success stories. Nest got acquired a couple weeks ago, and they're paving the way for a thriving hardware startup ecosystem.
Money and talent will always be issues, but if you have a great vision, a great story, a great product concept that you're working on, and a deep belief in what you're doing, and a good team to start with, you're going to get the talent, you're going to get the money. I actually don't see that as that much of an issue, because money and talent are attracted to great stories. I think, but just diving down a little deeper, maybe just more tactically speaking, I think one of the problems that hardware startups encounter is distinguishing between making a prototype, one of something, making 100 of something, and making 10,000 of something and making 10,000 of something every day. Okay, those are enormously different challenges, and prototyping, making 100 of something, easy. I mean, you can build just about anything with the tools that Francois was talking about. I totally would agree with that. You know, I think it's designing for manufacturing or manufacturing for design, hard, really hard. You know, getting robotic systems to CNC our devices, 10,000 units a day with flawless quality, really hard. That was our greatest challenge. And we started with metal, no plastic, you know. And so there's issues there, you know. Part of the money issue that Francois alluded to is the fact that when is getting that first order. So crowdfunding helps, but how do you get someone to make it for you? Okay, so you figured out a way to make something 10,000 units a day. Well, how do you get Flextronics or Foxconn to sign up for this? Well, they're not going to talk to you unless you've got a large opening order and a promise for recurring orders. So there's a kind of a chicken and the egg issue there as well. So that's, I mean, think about, so our one tip is think about design for manufacturing from the beginning. From the very prototype stages. Do think about scale. I mean, don't let that guy, constrain you, but definitely consider it.
Well, thank you very much, both. They're going to be around for the next 2 days, so anyone hoping to build a hardware startup, please approach them and ask them questions, because it's very good to have you here, and thank you very much for coming.
Thanks, Pedro.